is Boadu TV. Truth and integrity.
Aha ye Boadu TV, my mamu nyina kwaba emfambraso. Ye best yourself first time and now subscribe. Ye nyina ye like it. Na ye nje comment to comment section mo. After say Chief Justice suspended Madam Gertrude Araba Torkorno esu e de kire Ghana for wie no. Amafo dodo na nakasade afa ho. Paul Adom Otchere eje say dia aban no ye no onya ade kra. Na judges ne lawyers so bia kasa de tia mame no monya de o mami enye hwe e na kwa bia so mo pese mutu no na obekasa manfo san na weti temra so Paul say onti amra bia so ye onti amra bia so ye onti amra bia so ye na Sam George Gyata na yata wo kroma na watena ho ama yesi gefu bia fi South Africa ba oba be twetwa pictures ni videos de akoto social media so Gyata wo da so wa ha wo Ghana na enye Gyata na minister ne enye Gyata na MP ne ene de gi asem nke bi o Gyata Sam George
because the nurses today maybe it's the, let's check that's no oh that's him platoon commander, that's Minta Kando. Please, when you see him, tell that's a new name I gave him. Minta Kando was there, that's him, the health minister. Platoon commander, how are you? I thought I saw Bampo. Yes, I like this guy. I like this guy. Victor Bampo is one of the brightest spots in the government of John Dramani Mahama. I thought he was going to be health minister, but I'm sure that he identified NHIA as an important place. This is where Ansan Sadeli wanted to be. Please, Ansan Sadeli, this is where she wanted to be. The one who said that she's a doctor, she's not a doctor. And this kind of high-profile events, Ansan Sadeli would have been there doing, I'm Ansan Sadeli, and she's not a doctor, she's fake. We thank God for Callistus Mahama's pen. Callistus Mahama, your pen has done wonders. But this is Dr. Bampo. Watch out for him. Very, very good guy. Very good addition to the governance systems of Ghana. Very, very good. They call him Krobans. I won't tell you why. But, Doc, I think this was a good effort. Bill Gates also met with President Mahama. Here, apparently, he's promising to invest some important money. Yeah, that's a good one, producer. Thank you very much. This is Bill Gates and John Dramani Mahama. And I think that something good is happening in the health sector. Hopefully, it will be good. It will overshadow some of the things that the platoon commander has been doing, going to Tamale to do karate and all of that. That's platoon commander Minta Kando. But here we are. This is very good as well. This is very good as well for the photographs. Okay, so that's President John Dramani Mahama scoring high political points in Brussels for the nation. Whilst President Mahama was away, something was happening at the Independence Square. That's very, very terrible. Dastardly. Samuel George, everybody was pointing at him. He's responded. He's put out something on the internet. And Sam George says that if we are worried about what happened at the Independence Square, we should be worried about Akufo-Addo refusing to sign some bill of all sorts. These two gentlemen appeared at Ghana's secret Independence Square. We don't know who they are. And guess what they were doing? They were showing off their LGBT. I'm looking for a particular photograph. It's coming. They were showing off their LGBT situation. All of this may not say much. We can. Oh, why is the kissing? That's the most important one. That's the evidence. I hope they have it. Or maybe they thought that it was too terrible to show it. No, they don't have it. These two gentlemen were seen under the arc of the Independence Square, actually kissing. Two men. Well, when they have done that, we don't need the LGBT bill. The Criminal Offences Act is already there. And we are really hoping that government can bring these two gentlemen to book. You don't need an LGBT bill because this was not done in secret. The LGBT bill was to chase people who were doing it in secret and to chase people who are talking about it and all of that. But this was not done in secret. This was done in the open, showing off gross homosexuality at Ghana's Independence Square. What's the point that they were making? It's become a political conversation. That's why we started today's conversation with Sam George's interview with me here in 2021, where he was talking about the LGBT bill. Alban Sumanu Kingsford Bagbin, the Speaker of Parliament, has said that over his dead body will the bill not be passed. So how come that inside the NDC administration, 6 months to inside the NDC administration, these people have the boldness and the confidence to come to the Independence Square and do this? What is happening? This is NDC in power. This is the party that championed the anti-LGBT bill. Whilst President Mahama was scoring points in Brussels, this is what was happening at the Independence Square. Two men Please, can you find the picture of them kissing? That's the most important. That's the most important. I think there's a woman. I don't know. They're all very nice, handsome men. So it's difficult to tell who is playing the female role and who is playing the. Here they are, walking on the national, the most sensitive part of Ghana's F. The most sensitive part of Ghana's F. This is what they were doing there. This what they were doing. At the Independence Square. That's what they were doing. Why are we allowing that? Let's read what Sam George wrote. Sam George, who was one of the big proponents of the bill. Intim Fojo, the NDC MPP member of parliament for Asin South, I believe, who was also a proponent, has also spoken. Now, this is what Sam George, we didn't put it out. Let me spread this here so we can all read it. This is what Sam George said on his Facebook page. He says, I have just returned to Accra from Ho in the Volta region, where I attended the climax of our successful girls ICT program. He goes on to say that I've seen numerous tags and posts about abhorrent disrespect of our culture and values by two, he calls them, useless individuals. The disrespect of our national symbol is despicable, to say the least. He goes on to say, however, I am shocked to see apologies of the MPP calling on me and demanding action. What a shameless lot. We are where we are today without a strict legislation on these ills because former President Akufo-Addo failed and blatantly refused to sign the Family Values Bill into law after Parliament of Ghana and the courts cleared the bill. You defended the immoral stance of President Akufo-Addo then, and today you want to pontificate. How dare you, Sam George says. I have, along with my colleagues in Parliament, resubmitted the Family Values Bill. It has gotten Mr. Speaker's approval and should be laid for the first reading any moment soon. That's very important. Sam George says that the gay bill, as we used to call it, has been relayed. Speaker is in support of it. We know that. He's in full support of it. Alban Bagbe, he said so. I have, along with my colleagues in Parliament, resubmitted the Family Values Bill. It has gotten Mr. Speaker's approval and should be laid for the first reading any moment soon. The values, morals, and innocence of our children must be protected. I will demand that President John Dramani Mahama sign the bill when we get it passed again. My position has not changed, but I despise hypocrites. Law enforcement must identify the two miscreants in the viral photos and apply the full rigors of existing laws on them. And that's the point I made. There are existing laws that can punish these two. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I got that. My goodness, this is so despicable. This is disgusting. This is awful. This is completely useless. Look at this. I mean, why? At Independence Square, Ghana. Look at this. But why? It's been 24 hours after this happened. Nobody has found them. Nobody. Who are they, by the way? Who are they? This has happened 6 months into the administration of the NDC that championed the LGBT bill through Sam George. This didn't happen in Akufo-Addo's time. The Akufo-Addo, they said he likes LGBT, he doesn't want to sign the bill. This didn't happen in Akufo-Addo's time. This has happened here. What is happening? Yeah, I can't even look at it. I have to close my eyes. Yeah. This is terrible. My goodness. Let me go back to the last sentence of Sam George. He says, law enforcement must identify the two people in the viral photos and apply the full rigors of existing law. It has to be applied. The complete full existing law has to be applied. What are they doing here? Oh, they went to botanical. Is it a breed? This is a breed. They are, so what? Are they in Ghana for holiday or something? They should be told that you can't do that in Ghana. Oh. No, the police should take action. The police haven't taken any action on Ansan Sadeli up till today. This one too is there. They have not taken any action. Did they come on the invitation of some important people in government? Is that what happened? Did they come on the invitation of some important people in government? Do some people at Jubilee House know about this? The people in the Jubilee House, I've heard some names, but I'm not going to mention them because I know them well. It's okay. I'm not going to mention them. But I've heard some names. Chief, do you know about this one? And then they are allowed to come in and go and take photographs there. Tomorrow is McMill. We are shouting. Next day is Joshua, 7-foot boxer. We are shouting. Now this one, we shouldn't just shout. We should get out there on the streets. This is terrible. Our children shouldn't be educated with this. This is completely bad. Franklin Kujo, tomorrow morning when we are talking to Donald Trump, let's tell him, Franklin Kujo and I will talk to Donald Trump quite a bit. Tomorrow morning on our conversation with Donald Trump, let's talk to him that, please, call the authorities in Ghana. Summon the Washington ambassador, Victor Smith. Summon him that, hey, what's happening in your country? If you don't do that, if they don't do that, Donald Trump, bring the John Mohammed's bomb is called B2. Yeah, come and drop it at on their head. Come and drop it on the head. The B2. This is terrible. Why should this happen in Ghana? And the bill must be quickly passed. This is not politics. I mean, I supported the bill. I support Akufo-Addo to the hilt, but I supported the bill. So this is not about politics. Let us be sure that we do the right thing. It is very, very important that we do the right thing. Okay, they are signaling me that this time is running. We have a lot to do. Bafo is ready. Okay, so now let's go to Vincent Asifua. I think it's related, isn't it? Vincent Asifua has, based on this, appealed to President John Dramani Mahama. So, Office of Member of Parliament, Honorable Vincent Asifua Oltafo, petitioned to His Excellency the President John Dramani Mahama. He said, "It's with a heavy heart and deep concern I write to you, not just as a citizen of Ghana, but as someone deeply troubled by a disturbing development that has caused immense pain to many Ghanaians across the country." And he's right. In recent days, images have circulated showing two homosexual individuals taking deliberate photographs at the Independence Square and the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum site that represents our national freedom, but our national pride and sacrifice of our forefathers. Okay. These spaces are sacred. That's correct. Very sacred. They are not to be turned into platforms for promoting acts that are fundamentally alien to our culture, moral, and religious values. This is not just a social issue, it is a moral affront and a spiritual insult to the conscience of our nation. I speak with grief because what happened is not just a photo opportunity, it is symbolic of a creeping agenda to normalize what the overwhelming majority of Ghanaians reject as immoral. Where still it took place at Independence Square, the very ground that marks the divine hand of God in granting us freedom as a people. That grounds has now been defiled. Surely defiled, completely defiled. We need to go and pray there. We need to go and take Pastor Nana Opoku-Sarkodie and the commanding archbishop there to go and speak some heavy tongues over there and remove these kind of evil spirits that have settled there as a result of what happened. Yes, evil spirits will settle there because it is evil. It is just plain simple evil. That's all it is. I mean, I know my friends are going to come after me that you are not enlightened and because you don't have a PhD from America, you don't understand it. Yeah, I get all that. But fundamentally, it is evil. It is homosexuality. It's not good at all. It's terrible. Vincent, thank you very much. And let's see what happens in the political arena. Because if Jubilee House, somebody in Jubilee House knows about this and knew that they were going to do that, that person must also be queried. It is very, very bad. Okay. I'm being signaled to get to Johnson Asiedu Nketia very quickly. Please prepare Lawyer Bafo to come in very soon now. Hey, General, how are you? I love talking about a general. You know, the guy standing behind him is not his bodyguard, though. It's a full brigadier general of the Ghana Armed Forces. He's a director general of GAPOHA. Now, my friend Johnson Asiedu Nketia got an appointment. I don't know whether he's going to have a party. He should invite me. I just like Johnson Asiedu Nketia. You know, I like his fortitude, I like his tenacity, and I like his focus. You have to like him. His fortitude, his tenacity, and his focus. The NDC chairman. He's my very good friend. We'll fight every day. There he is taking his oath of office to be the chairman of GAPOHA. Okay, so Johnson Asiedu Nketia is chairman of GAPOHA. What does it mean for the elections of 2024? I didn't see. Yes, okay, that's Johnson Asiedu Nketia. There he is. He's taking the oath of office. But here he is as well. After taking the oath of office, he's the board chairman of GAPOHA. That's his director general. Johnson Asiedu Nketia is certainly running for the NDC leadership in 2027. And that's why I was telling journalist colleagues Evans Mensah and Co that from 2027 to 2020, we're going to be brutally busy because Johnson Asiedu Nketia is running. Chief of Staff Julius Debra is running. Ama Kofi Boa is running. I don't know whether Omanibo Ama will run. I doubt, but maybe he's just running to keep himself inside the NDC agenda. It's going to be very interesting, isn't it? It's going to be very, very interesting. Are you supporting Johnson Asiedu Nketia? I don't know. Who are you supporting? So Asiedu Nketia is chairman of GAPOHA. Hopefully he can rake up some support for himself in approaching the NDC contest. But you know, his serious face. After this one, which was positive, he came up with a lot of criticism. He appeared on Evans Mensah's show on PM Express last night. I was watching. And he said that Jean Mensah should be sacked And this morning, all guns were dropped on him. MPP and CPP held a press conference that he can't say that. He truly cannot say that. So I was listening to Joy FM Super Morning Show early this morning when Winston and the team were having a chat about it. And they were all thought like, no, you Johnson Asiedu Nketia should not be saying these things. But anyway, he said it. He said that the electoral commissioner should be sacked. He should be impeached and thrown away because they are not fit for purpose. They don't know what they are doing. This is an electoral commission that has held 2 successful elections. Actually, very successful elections, 2020 and 2024. 2024 was brutal and dastardly. The police cooperation was not there. Even with that, they managed to hold the election successfully. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia came in to save the nation with a very early concession, and that helped a lot of matters. But still, the Electoral Commission pulled through. They completely pulled through. They still have Ablekuma, and they've told us time and time again, Ablekuma is not their fault. If the police can keep the peace, they will be able to declare the results. But they're not going to risk their lives there when people are going to throw stones and trying to beat them up and all of that. They're not going to do that. So that's what happened. That's what happened. That's why Electoral Commission is where it is. And Johnson Asiedu Nketia quickly says that they should sack them, they should throw them away, etc., etc. Well, I don't know. But good evening, General. Congratulations. That's why I put your photograph here. There's a lot more for us to have. Many more fights coming up. Many more smiles. Many more handshakes. Many funerals for us to attend in Sekwa and Chira and then Kranza. I'll be there with you, Johnson Asiedu Nketia. General, I'll be there with you. Don't worry. But we'll continue our fights because we disagree philosophically. He's left, I'm right, and we disagree. So we'll continue fighting. But I like him. I like him very much. Johnson Asiedu Nketia. Oh, I was going to say something about, why do you have John Ajekum Kufuor here? Oh, you want me to play there? I'll talk about John Ajekum Kufuor when Dr. Zato comes. So let's take it like that. Okay, so I'm done with Johnson Asiedu Nketia. Now, let's get to the big story. I asked Lawyer Balfour to get prepared. He said, okay, good. Yesterday, the learned Chief Justice Gertrude Torkorno, who has been a judge for 38 years, and he has been a lawyer for 38 years and a judge for 21 odd years of it, found it painfully necessary to hold a press conference. And at the press conference, the Lord Chief Justice was at pain to even start the press conference by telling the media why she had to do a press conference. This is the first time in Ghana's 68 years of independence. You can see the Chief Justice arriving together with her ever-present husband at the press conference. This is the first time in 68 years that a Chief Justice has had to do a press conference. We have never seen the Georgiana would do a press conference. I doubt it. I can't remember. I doubt it. We've never seen a Chief Justice setting out to hold a press conference. They give speeches when they attend events, but they never hold press conference about themselves. More so, for the Chief Justice to hold a press conference complaining about law, complaining about a legal process, complaining about a legal regime, that was very sad. And that was completely overwhelming for anyone. Or should I rather say underwhelming? That was underwhelming for anyone who is interested in democracy, who is interested in the tenets of rule of law, who is interested in fundamental human rights, that the Chief Justice is holding a press conference and complaining that I am being hounded on the altar of politics. That was hard. That was hard for anyone to take. The Lord Chief Justice said, I am being hounded on the altar of politics on account of my appointments by a political group, on account of statements I have made in the discharge of my duty as a judge, sitting among a panel of 5, sometimes 7, on account of legal opinions I have taken in exercise of my duty as a jurist. I am being hounded for that. I mean, that goes all the way back to ancient Greece. It goes all the way back behind Oliver Cromwell. And that is why the Chief Justice went all the way back to Nebuchadnezzar. Why must we have this in a country? We shouldn't. Do the people in authority know that this is what is happening? Okay, the Chief Justice can be bad. She doesn't smile. She doesn't play ampe with anybody. But it's not about Gertrude Torkorno. No. It's about the 1992 Constitution and the tenets of democracy. If they say that they are going to arrest Paul Adom Otchere because he has WhatsApp exchanges with Akufo-Addo and they've read it and they are coming to whatever. It's not about Paul Adom Otchere. It's about, should a democracy have somebody arrested because he exchanged WhatsApp messages with Akufo-Addo? Is that what it is? That is why it's important for us to take the sentiments of men and women out of the discharge of law. That's what the 1992 Constitution is about. That's why the 1992 Constitution has no name in it. It says if a person, if such and one appointed by the president having appointed this, a judge having done this, they don't name any judge because it's about institutional cleanliness. It's about the sacrosanct nature of how we practice our democracy. No Chief Justice in England, no Chief Justice in America, no Chief Justice in Denmark, Sweden, even South Africa, I dare say even Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Egypt, will ever go to bed being worried about the outcome of an election results. And here in Ghana, we have never had a Chief Justice who goes out worried about the outcome of an election results, because on 7th December, the Chief Justice has a responsibility. On 7th December every 4 years, the Chief Justice has a responsibility to swear in the president, whether you like the president or not, whether you don't like the president or not. As Chief Justice, you have a responsibility to attend the Independence Square at the Speaker's call and swear in the president. In the same way, no political authority, whether you like the Chief Justice or not, you don't have to like him or her, but you have to deal with the Chief Justice according to the principles laid out in the Republican Constitution of 1992. The Lord Chief Justice, that's hard, isn't it? She also had occasion to complain about the chairman of the panel, and it's quite interesting. You know, there's one of the petitioners had listed the chairman of the panel as one of his witnesses. As I've been told, when the petitioner got into the room and saw the Justice Gabriel Poaman chairing, Justice Gabriel Poaman is my friend because we all used to be PNC, you know, Dr. Liman's party. We're all part of it before. I think he still is part of it. So I stoutly defended Justice Poaman when he went for vetting and they said that he's a political person and he cannot be Supreme Court judge. We all defended him. Very good friend of Professor Mills, Justice Gabriel Poaman. Now, Justice Poaman is chairing this committee. One of the witnesses was intending to call Justice Poaman. One of the petitioners was intending to call Justice Poaman as a witness. In fact, Justice Torkorno told the media yesterday that even the petition, she doesn't have it. She goes in there, she doesn't have it. And he says they call witnesses, and the witnesses are talking about something that she can't follow. And she likened it to Nebuchadnezzar, the historical wicked ruler of Babylon, who called his magicians, his prophets, if you like, his juju men. He called his juju men and said, "Juju men, I've had a dream that is troubling me. But if I tell you people the dream, you will come and lie to me." Because he said he knows juju men. So juju men, the prophet, they've been lying for. I didn't say it. Nebuchadnezzar said it. So if you look at Nebuchadnezzar 5,000 years ago, and he was worried that the juju men, the prophets, will be lying to him. You look at it 5,000 years later. Do you know any prophet who has lied to you? I don't know some, but do you know some prophet who has lied to you? They were there in Nebuchadnezzar's time. So don't worry about it. Don't be too worried about it. Don't be embarrassed. Nebuchadnezzar's time they were. Nebuchadnezzar knew. So he said, if I tell you, you come and lie to me. So show me the dream, then show me the interpretation. And they couldn't do it. And it was the Holy Spirit that came upon the young, glorious man Daniel, who set himself and separated himself for Christ. It was revealed unto him. And that's how Daniel became great. You read Nebuchadnezzar, you see Daniel as a hero. Daniel is a hero to all of us who read Nebuchadnezzar. Great, great young man Daniel, the prophet Daniel. So Justice Torkorno said, these hearings are treating C and his lawyers like Nebuchadnezzar did. Guess what they are talking about and then give an answer. You go to a court, a trial, an Article 146 process, and a witness comes and says, okay, witness, what is your name? My name is Paul Adom Otchere. Okay, what do you do? I'm a judicial secretary. Justice Torkorno, do you know her? Yes, I know her. Okay, judicial secretary, tell us, on 27th May, when Justice Torkorno came to work, do you remember that she had squeezed her face? And Justice Torkorno is wondering, what is this? Which petition is this? What is she speaking to? I don't know. And the lawyer says, me too, I don't know. It says here, she has squeezed her face on 27th May. Oh, she squeezed her face. Okay. Did you take a photograph of her when she squeezed her face? Yes, I have a photograph. Then they tender it. My lord, exhibit AI. It's part of the evidence. And Justice Torkorno and her lawyers are wondering that, what is he talking about? It is about what? That I came to work on 27th May at 11 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock. It is towards what? Is it Daniel Ofori's petition? Is it Shining Stars petition? One thing she said that was interesting. That there's a petition by a group called Shining Stars. A search at the Registrar General showed that there's no such organization called Shining Stars. But at the presidency, is it not simple for when the petitions arrive that you check? Shining Stars, it's not there. Some people come together, they say they are called Shining Stars. Oliver Vomaho, good evening. Do you happen to know who Shining Stars are? Did you draft their petition for them, Oliver? Oliver, did you draft the Shining Stars petition, Vomaho? How are you? Will you owe me an interview? It's not come. But did you draft the Shining Stars petition? We don't know. And this didn't mean much to an impeachment process of a Chief Justice, something that has never happened in 68 years. And the group that is petitioning are a no group in law. There are no locus in law. And based on this petition, there's a purported hearing to remove a Chief Justice. I mean, this is fundamental. It doesn't have to be too legal. Somebody said they are called Shining Stars. They don't exist. They have not registered themselves. They brought a petition that you should sack the Chief Justice. And they are Shining Stars. And they don't exist. Oh, it's not proper. This one is not good at all. Anyway, you heard the Lord Chief Justice. I mean, if you want to go take a Chief Justice through a process like this, it has to have some important landmarks and epochs that we can talk about. You don't want people to start thinking that the process is lacking merit or the process is lacking fairness. This is Ghana. This is a constitution that has been running for 35 years. Well, why are we doing this? I mean, the person who has won the election has won the election. You have the control of state power for 4 years. You inherit the state power, you control it. And if you look at all the oath of the president, the oath of the vice president, at the second schedule of the 1992 constitution is there. To be fair to all Ghanaians. Because the state power is for you for a period. You can't give the state power to one person forever. We are not a monarchy, we are a democracy. So I don't know why anybody will want to present a situation that somebody can say is unfair. You have the Lord Chief Justice breaking her silence and doing something that has not happened in 68 years to address the media. This is Justice Gabriel Poaman. Osofo, my Lord, how are you? Justice Poaman is a distinguished judge of the Supreme Court. My Lord, I salute you. We've been talking about you on TV today. That's His Lordship, Justice Gabriel Poaman, the judge that Justice Torkorno refers to. Finally, there's this big issue about Justice Torkorno traveling with her family, and she traveled with her family, and she chopped the money, and she went to Kenya with her daughter, and they went to chop our money. They drank tea, they had biscuits and plantain margarine. Yeah, plantain margarine. If you are not 50 years old, you know plantain margarine, so don't worry about it. But if you are 50 years old, you know. They drank tea and plantain margarine, and they had brown bread from Bachona Total. What's the problem? Chief Justice travels with her daughter or her husband. They give her $14,000 to go and spend. She comes back and says, oh, I spent $4,000. Here is a $9,000 back to the States. Many of us won't do that. Many of us, those of us who like nice bag and nice this and nice earring, nice necklace. I'm Chief Justice. I go to London. I go to Mayfair. Then I have $9,000. Then I bring it back to the registrar. For what? The whole big government of Ghana with billions and billions of dollars. I should come and give them $9,000 for what? I'll buy bag. I'll buy sneakers. I'll buy nice things. I'll buy something. Not Gertrude Torkorno. Not Gertrude Torkorno. She returned the money. The politicians who are looking at this and asking Gertrude Torkorno to be fired, the politicians who are looking at this, do you bring back $9,000 to your chief director? Show me one politician since 1992 that has traveled to Abroche, come back and retired impressed. One politician. The other day, Shamima Muslim said that 20,000 in the hands of a politician is peanuts. Domelevo was angry. Shamima, my sister. Shamima, how are you? Good. You know that we are related. Shamima Muslim, my sister, said that 20,000 cedis in the hands of a politician is peanuts. And she was right. Because if you're a politician, the other day I went to a funeral in Kumasi. I went to Atapoku's mother's funeral. I was there. I was watching politicians. Hey, when I arrived, they came. Oh, Mr. Paul, I say, hey, me, I'm not a politician. I beg you. Not yet. I beg you, pa. Then they'll be drumming. Then they are following you. Charlie, I saw the politicians sharing money. It's not because they want to share money. The people were coming. So Shamima is right when she says that 20,000 is peanut. As a result of that, no politician since 1992, look at how many they are. Rawlings had 60 ministers, then 60 ministers second term. Kufuor had 80 ministers, then Mills had 80 ministers, then John Mahama had 80 ministers, then Akufo-Addo had 120 ministers in the first time, 80 ministers. John Mahama now has 57 ministers. According to Abu Jinapo, John Mahama actually has 100 appointees. They are all traveling on a public purse. I'm sure that since 1992. Maybe we should do that. Why, Franklin Kujo? Let's do that research. How much per diem has been spent for the 35 years of our democracy is going to run into the trillions. Nobody has ever returned unimpressed. Only Gertrude Torkorno, and for that reason, she is being impeached. The politicians who are impeaching her, do they return impressed? Oh, Ghana, it's not proper. Let's build our democracy and let's stop these things. Why can't we become like England? England, we can be better. Can't we become, as for elections, somebody will win, somebody will lose. Yes, somebody will get 38%. Tomorrow, somebody will get 25%. Tomorrow, another person will get 17%. Dan Latte did that, he never won. Papa Kwesi Nkrumah did that, he never won. Akufo-Addo went, he won. John Mahama was beaten, he came back. It will be topsy-turvy like that in politics for a long time to come. That is the expression of democracy. But let's not destroy it because of a penchant to remove one person. Why? This woman, a woman, Chief Justice, travels abroad and returns impressed, and they are sacking her because of that. So we had the story, a glimmer of interesting. So President Mahama was in Brussels, wasn't he? Giving an excellent speech on behalf of Ghana. The story we had is that President Mahama was told by his people that Justice Torkorno is about to address a press conference. He asked them, keep an eye on it. Apparently, President Mahama told them, you need to respond immediately. You need to respond to say there's no political agenda because there's none. And you need to respond to say that we have no connection with this Edu law that she was talking about. So President Mahama gave tacit support to what Felix Kwakye Ofosu did yesterday. Now, if you look at Felix Kwakye Ofosu's demeanor yesterday, which has been commended by some people, you will understand that the whole thing was choreographed by his boss, John Dramani Mahama. Here is Felix Kwakye Ofosu responding immediately after the Chief Justice ended. And that was a good sign. Very, very good sign. Spoken.
It may appear that by speaking, she'll be breaching the provision of the Constitution regarding the secrecy of the process. That said, she appears to be in a very desperate situation. And when somebody is in a desperate situation, you know, they may want to explore avenues so that they can be given a hearing, or people come to their aid. She said so many things yesterday. What for me is at the core of, the core of the issue is there seems to be a breach or lack of procedural integrity in this matter. And I would want to say that regardless of what we think of her, she has a right to be heard, and she has a right to be deemed innocent until proven guilty. At the heart of our law, in terms of dispute resolution, is that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. And indeed, the law requires that when a person is going through processes of this nature, be it criminal, be it disciplinary, the person is entitled to all the assistance that that person requires to be able to prosecute his or her case ordinarily. That then means that the Chief Justice, like any other Ghanaian under the Constitution of this country, rather needs to be assisted to defend herself and not to be treated as a person who is guilty. You know, Paul, you said something that is really true. We don't develop a country, right, other than using principles and values. And so we need to build a country of principles. And through the principles, we develop the values of this country. You see, without the establishment of a prima facie case, this whole hearing wouldn't have taken place.
What is that?
When you look at Article 146, there's no need for the president to constitute a committee to inquire into the complaint until the president has established a prima facie case in respect of the complaint. In other words, the president deems it necessary for the Chief Justice to answer the complaint. And in answering the complaint, she answers the complaint before the committee. A committee of 2 justices of the Supreme Court and 3 persons who are neither lawyers, members of parliament, or council of state. And so that makes the prima facie determination very important.
Break it down a little bit. What does that? Prima facie means president looks at the petitions, looks at a response and says, I'm not convinced. The committee must hear you.
The president, together with the council of state, say that, look, in respect of this petition, you have a case to answer. You should respond to this in a more detailed manner than you have responded in your comments. And so go to the committee and answer it. But that makes it necessary, extremely important, for the president to inform the Chief Justice whether or not the prima facie was established in respect of all the complaints or parts of the complaint. From the Chief Justice's account yesterday, she doesn't know which part of the complaint that the prima facie case was established in respect of.
But she asked the committee.
Paul, she doesn't have to ask the committee. If you go to court, it's a quasi-judicial process. If you establish a prima facie, in setting up the committee, you have to put me on notice that of all the issues that were brought against you, we think that as for this one, you should answer them. Don't forget, under the Constitution of Ghana, if you are a judge, you have some immunity. Under Article 127, those immunities are provided to ensure that judges can do their work in freedom without fear or favor or ill will. So they are there to protect judges. Some of the complaints that have been brought against the Chief Justice, right, are in respect of his work sitting as a judge, president of the Supreme Court, right, in respect of some of the matters that she sat on. And so if you have established a prima facie case, is it in respect of the complaints that concerns her work as president of the court in specific matters that she sat on, or other matters which are totally unrelated to her work, her work as a judge, but administrative duties? But you have to make her aware. Let me tell you why it is important you have to make her aware. In coming to the committee, there is a burden of proof. You see, not all cases requires that the petitioner must prove. When an allegation, for instance, is made in the negative, the burden is rather not on the complainant, it's on the Chief Justice to prove. And so if you make allegations against the Chief Justice and the President has found it necessary to say that I've established that there's a prima facie, it is important for you to let the Chief Justice know which of the complaints you have established the prima facie. That makes the Chief Justice, that puts the Chief Justice on notice, makes the Chief Justice prepared, right, in coming to answer it. But the most bizarre thing, which for me is sad, is that whereas the Chief Justice has not been told which of the complaints a prima facie case has been established, some government communicators have spoken extensively on this matter in the media.
About the prima facie? About
the prima facie, taking the complaint, the petition, and stated that in respect of some of them, the President established prima facie. In respect of others, there was no prima facie. So if the person who is going through this process does not know, right, which of the complaints a prima facie case has been established, but government communicators know about it, is it fair? It is not fair. And so, for me, in my humble opinion, right, it really undermines the integrity of the process. And it is very sad that the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana should be going through this. No matter
so without that, how I thought that would guide the committee's work. Is that not what? So she goes and they say that there are 3 petitions against you. Petition number 1 is from Adom Otchere. He says that you don't come to work early. And the president has seen the evidence of Adom Otchere, has seen your response, and thinks that you should explain yourself to the committee. Without that, what process are they going through?
Paul, and that is what makes it bizarre. And so without further information, I am saying that what is happening undermines the integrity of the process. It casts the whole process in a certain light, right? That makes it seem not to be genuine. It appears that people are using the camera or the secrecy of the process to achieve a certain end without more. And that is why it is important for the issue that the Chief Justice has raised to be answered, particularly the absence of notice to the Chief Justice as to which part of the complaint or the petition a prima facie case has been established on. Without more, it really, really, really casts serious doubt on the integrity of the process. Look, I understand that the procedure which is being used or has been borrowed is the civil procedure rules.
Yeah.
And the Chief Justice thought that they should rather use the commission of the procedure, designed for commission of inquiries. I understand, I saw Mr. Tadiosori also, raising issues about the Chief Justice's position.
Yes.
As much as the committee is free, together with the parties, to agree as to the procedure to be used, right? I think that the commission of inquiry is analogous, and that for me should be preferable to the civil procedure rules, which is an adversarial regulation of our courts, adversarial regulation or procedure that regulates litigation in our courts, which is why the Chief Justice is saying that the whole process is very adversarial. My brother, even employer-employee relationship, right, matters relating to employer-employee relationship. When there is a hearing, when you go, you are told exactly why you are there. You are told exactly why.
So she's not being told. That's why she's talking about Nebuchadnezzar?
Yes, because a petition has been filed. That petition, right, there are 3 petitions containing various complaints. Those 3 petitions, right, the president says he has established a prima facie case on. The duty was the president and the Council of State have established a prima facie case on. There is a duty, a legal duty, to inform the Chief Justice whether the prima facie case was in respect of all the 3 petitions or parts of the petitions.
So she will know how to prepare?
So she will know how to prepare. It's a basic principle.
So she's being tried in the dark?
She's been tried in the dark. She's been tried in the dark. It's the basic principle of the rules of natural justice. I have to know what I'm up against. It helps me in preparing my case. It helps me in knowing the burden on me in terms of the evidential burden. It helps me in putting together my evidence. It helps me, right? Paul, even in the Garden of Eden, when Adam, right, went to eat the apple and God appeared and they said, and he asked them, Adam, what have you done? He gave Adam the opportunity, right, to answer for himself. That's the rules of natural justice. You should put the person on notice, the nature of the case you have against that person, which is why in civil litigation you file pleadings. The pleadings comes to you, you have sufficient time to prepare your case. That is your defense. Okay? in criminal law, in recent times, in the case of Martin Pebu versus the Attorney General, the Supreme Court has held that disclose all the evidence you have against the other side, so that based on it, the person will prepare his or her case. Okay, I think that it was, that underpins, that philosophy underpins our justice administration system. It is to ensure fairness, so that nobody is ambushed. I mean, think about it. The Chief Justice is undergoing through this process in camera, where from her account, she's not even allowed family members or witnesses to come along. Even in employee-employer relationships, when you are going for disciplinary hearings, Paul, you are asked to bring a friend to witness what goes on. So why are we doing this? If the Chief Justice's account, for me, is true, without more, I think that the integrity of the process is significantly undermined by what we are saying, by what she has said. And something has to be done to remedy the situation. A lot of the things she said, for me, are sentimental, right? I think that the government can, in the spirit of fairness, address them. For instance, if it is Edu Lodge she's not comfortable with, government can assist by providing an alternative venue. I think, for instance, that in respect of those issues, the Chief Justice could simply have written to the government to express her concerns. And if they had not been addressed, then she could have stated them in her press conference. And so for me, the complaint in the press conference in respect of that, for me, could have been handled in a better way, differently. Yeah. But in respect of this matter, how many times haven't we talked about this prima facie and the need to give the Chief Justice notice of what constitutes the prima facie? President Akufo-Addo, when various complaints have been made against, petitions have been brought against previous Chief Justices, Chief Justice Georgina Wood, Chief Justice Sophia Kufu, Chief Justice Enini Abua, in all instances, when he deemed that there was no prima facie case, did not just write to the petitioners and say that there is no prima facie case. Professor Kweku Azar, he had petitioned against the Chief Justice, and the president didn't just simply write to him and say there's no prima facie case. He gave reasons why there is no prima facie case. He went over and above himself. And I don't know why, in this instance, the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayeni, is looking on. I think that the nation needs explanations from the Attorney General, for instance. He is the only one whose office is guaranteed under the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. He's not there for any reason apart from making sure that the president and other people who are acting together with the president, and in this instance, the Council of State, work in accordance with law or act in accordance with law. I think that Dr. Ayeni would have to explain to the nation if what the Chief Justice came out to say is true. Dr. Ayeni has a responsibility as the chief legal advisor of government to explain to us if what the Chief Justice is saying is true. Don't forget that under the laws of this country, all human rights actions, the Attorney General is a party. It's not a coincidence. It's because there is a burden on the Attorney General to defend the fundamental human rights of people, right? Mm-hmm. And so he has to explain to the people of Ghana whether the complaints of the Chief Justice is true. Because the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana is being denied fair trial. That is what it is. It's being denied fair trial. So Dr. Dominic Ayeni owes us an obligation to explain to us if it is true, what kind of legal advice is he given at this time? Right? What kind of legal advice is he given? We need explanations. Okay? This 1992 Constitution, I keep saying, we must reap the fruits of the Constitution, Paul. And so for me, this information.
But as people have written on social media, these are the same matters she put before the Supreme Court, and she was denied. The Supreme Court dismissed the action.
Well, the Supreme Court dismissed the action.
Yeah, they did.
And they said because it was in camera. It is out of that frustration that she's out here complaining. I am saying that when you look at the issues that she took to the Supreme Court, right, it was the petition, it was the supplementary affidavit which she filed, you know, which basically she was putting out those complaints. The Supreme Court had deemed that not to be relevant to the matters before them because they felt that that was not the forum. The reason why she was there was different from the reason why the basis for the supplementary affidavit. That was perhaps the reason why the Supreme Court took that position. It doesn't take out her right to fair trial. She's entitled to fair trial. All the issues she's raised, as I've said, most of them are sentimental. But the issues as to, you know, lack of sufficient information on which of the complaints a prima facie case has been established on is so fundamental. Even under the civil procedure rules, that is the CI 47, which I hear has been adopted to regulate the proceedings. Notice is given at each stage of the proceedings. Look, it is an anomaly in the civil procedure rules, right? It is only in exceptional cases that somebody can even act without notice. And it is to ensure transparency so that nobody does ambush litigation. And so if an in-camera proceedings of this nature, right, there seems to be lack of transparency, even as it is in camera, then it leaves more to be desired. It raises suspicion, it leaves a lot of suggestions, and I think that the Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana would have to explain to us why this is happening, if true.
Wow. Let's see what people are saying by the text message as we get in Dr. Zato to Kobe, let's start with you. People who are listening to Labaf, what are they saying? This is a very serious matter. What are they saying?
Transford Yaira says, but does it matter whether she's notified of which charges establish a prima facie? She already knows about all the charges, hence her initial response. She should be able to respond to whichever ones made their way to the committee, Anameboa. Now, I'll read a message from Rich Golden. It's quite lengthy. He titled it Judicial Murderers. He says the PNDC regime under Jerry Rawlings stained Ghana's conscience in 1982 with the cold-blooded slaughter of 3 judges, Justices Kweku Eje, Cecilia Cranting Ado, and Sarkodie, dragged from their homes, tortured, and executed like enemies of the junta. Their charred, bullet-ridden bodies were not just casualties of tyranny, but a declaration of war on justice itself. Rawlings' regime, drunk on impunity, sought to crush judicial integrity, silencing voices that dared uphold the rule of law. This barbarity exposed the PNDC's visceral hatred for a free judiciary, a truth etched in blood. Today, the PNDC's political heir, audaciously poses as defenders of judicial independence while replicating its progenitors' brutality. The orchestrated political legal removal of Chief Justice Gertrude Torkorno is not mere politics, it is a bloody murder of judicial autonomy, a gruesome reenactment of 1982's carnage. Stripping her of authority, they knife the soul of justice, mocking the martyrs they once silenced. No organization has butchered Ghana's judiciary with such chilling consistency. The NDC's hands drip with the blood of judicial martyrs. Their rhetoric reeks. To speak of judicial independence is to spit on the graves of the slain. The NDC are not reformers, they are executionists in democratic disguise, forever Ghana's darkest paradox. What do you have for us, Antoinette?
Oh, quite a lot. We'll start with what Shifman Osei says. He says, I have really enjoyed the law education by lawyer Bafo Iwa tonight. Frankly, the charges against the CJ are just frustrating and weird. And this is a clear case of give the dog a bad name and hang it. If the NDC can do this to a whole Chief Justice, where is the fate of the ordinary Ghanaian under this government. Our judiciary is indeed under attack, he says. Now, Papo Emmanuel says, listening and watching Justice Torkorno yesterday reminds me of a novel I read in my high school titled In the Chest of a Woman, written by the late Efo Kojo Mawugbe. In the Chest of a Woman is not only an extension of the breast and the feeble heart, but a flaming desire to possess and use power. I just like the courage of the ladyship, Justice Torkorno, and I see some interesting days ahead, and may God give her the strength to fight to the end. Now, Eben Gyata says, Lawyer Balfour makes law very simple and beautiful. He understands our civil and criminal jurisprudence. No wonder he is the member of the Honorable Society of Lincoln's Inn. Now, Nana Owusu says, Paul, recently my MP was removed from office in the UK, but initially hundreds of thousands of people signed a petition before the inquiry and later by-election was held. But in Ghana, a country of 30 million plus people, and only 5 whiners can remove a chief justice. Is this a joke? Moses Champon says, well said, learned lawyer. Where is the prima facie? What cause did the president see before forming his committee without letting the CJ know the prima facie case against her? They should continue to harm her, but they will not rule for good as long as the Lord gives her strength. Now, Ifoyebua says, may I know which constituency this gentleman represents in Parliament? He is very learned. Lawyer Balfour is the MP for Mainshore South constituency. Jaka Derek says, it seems that the NDC is setting a bad precedent for the future, and Ghana will be the end loser in the end. Now, Nana Owusu says again that I thought the CJ's committee is inquisitorial, and if the so-called petitioners are not allowed to be cross-examined, and again being represented by their lawyers who are not the ones who submitted those petitions, then the process is adversarial, right? He's asking Lawyer Balfour that lastly. Now, lastly, would you want to answer that?
Yes. Want to answer? Yes.
So,
can answer.
Paul, what was the question again?
He said, Nana Owusu said he thought that the CJ's whatever committee is inquisitorial, and if the so-called petitioners are not allowed to be cross-examined, and again being represented by their lawyers who are not the ones who submitted those petitions, then the whole process is adversarial.
Yes, then the whole process becomes adversarial, like what happens in court. But for me, that is not as fatal as not being put on notice the case that you are up against. Because look, if the person fails to turn up, right, and he brings witnesses, and the witnesses fail to testify to prove the case, then you have the upper hand, you succeed. But you should know the case that you are up against. Because look, assuming you are if what the CJ is saying is true, and I have no reasons to doubt her, subject to further information. Paul, if you are using even the CI-47, with the CI-47, before going into a matter, you set down the issues, right? And so if you are setting down the issues to be resolved or to be inquired into, okay, we should be guided by the prima facie determination. Because in the absence of the prima facie determination, how do we then agree to the issues that the
So you think an urgent question should be put to the Attorney General in Parliament?
Yes,
for him to come and explain?
Yes, and I'm going to do that. He should come and explain to us, right, whether what the CJ is saying is true. But you know, these questions, whether or not they will be admitted to, is at the discretion of the Speaker.
Or the Speaker can decide not to.
Yes. And
well, you may come against the headlaw. It's a prima facie, it's an in-camera conversation.
Yes. Because don't forget, recently we wanted to inquire into the dismissal of certain public officers based on the directive of the Chief of Staff. And the first Deputy Speaker simply stated that because the matter is pending in court, right, he will not allow the matter to be discussed.
But is it pending in court? Some of them have sued the government.
Yes. But you see, the interesting thing is that under the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, we have parliamentary immunities. So there's no express restriction. You understand?
So you not have reached the sub judice?
No.
Sub judice rule.
The sub judice rule in respect of Parliament is at the discretion of the Speaker. However, because it suits the NDC, the First Deputy Speaker chose to use it as a carte blanche defense in Parliament.
To gag every member of Parliament
from talking about it. And so in this particular case, I suspect this is what they will do. And so sometimes don't even waste your time. However, you also have to do it for the public to know that, it's not a case that you are not acting. But I think that the Attorney General, right, if he's not given the President the right advice, right, he has to make the prima facie determination available to the Chief Justice. Because, and then very respectfully, Justice Puaman and the other Supreme Court justices sitting on this matter, it doesn't matter what we think of Justice Torkorno. She deserves a fair trial.
Yes.
If you are using the CI-47, subject to further information, then you need to set down the issues for determination. And those issues will guide the Chief Justice as to the nature of evidence she has to produce to prove her case, right, or to dispute the allegations before the committee. In fact, the petitioners themselves would need that to guide them in terms of the evidence they themselves even need to produce to prove their case. In the absence of that, whatever they will be doing there is ad hoc. It's ad hoc.
That's interesting.
Yes, it's ad hoc. And it is not fair. Look, even the devil will have his day on the day of judgment. The good Lord will not throw the devil into the fiery fire simply because he knows that he was the devil in the world. He will give the devil a hearing, a fair hearing.
Judgment day.
Judgment day.
It's a trial.
It's a trial. And so, no matter what we think of a person, I stand for human rights, respect for human rights. You see, that is godliness. That is godliness. Oh, sometimes you know what I say to my friends? I say, I'm sure if Jesus had appeared in Ghana and he was being crucified, would have had a lot of us who profess to be Christians shout, crucify him, crucify him.
That's
crucify
what happened in Judea.
In Judea. You understand?
Yeah.
But once we are Christians, okay, we should care about one another. And that is godliness.
That's the legal view, viewers. That's the strong legal view advocated by Lawyer Bafo. But now let me bring in the political science view from the great corridors of the political science department at the University of Ghana, one of the best departments that you can ever have in the world, producing Kofi Dry and Professor Michael Quay, one Speaker of Parliament, producing a Deputy Electoral Commissioner, etc. So, and also producing Professor Ransford Jampo. Dr. Zato is here. Good evening, sir. And sorry for keeping you waiting. That's Bafo has given us a legal. What's the political science view of this Chief Justice matter from the way you look at it?
Thank you very much, Paul, and thank you for the good things you said about the Premier Department of Politics in Ghana. You are a great alum, and I know that they've done a lot, and the department continues to shape the minds of politicians and politics all over this country. This is the first time I've come here, and I want to thank you for
we are sorry we kept you away so long.
Yes, I almost fell asleep behind because it's past my bedtime. So, thank you, Honorable, for the excellent submission, the legal submission on this Chief Justice matter. But of course, because I'm not a lawyer, we can actually do that. We can go behind this and to look at the political ramifications of this. Now, sometimes when you speak to some people, they make this argument simplistic. The former electoral commissioner was removed from office. So this one is being removed, so case closed. Now, if you just then, that means that they are trying to shut down the whole debate. They are trying to shut down any attempt to look beyond just those quantitative numbers.
Say that they are fighting against hypocrisy.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That is a quantitative.
That we all sat down for Charlotte Osei to be removed. We didn't conduct these programs. We didn't say all the things that we said. And now it comes to another woman. Hey, we are shouting.
Agree. That is a quantitative argument. One woman, another woman. You can just, and it becomes simplistic, you put it like that. But we can then do a qualitative argument to say that Honorable Charlotte Osei was not a co-equal member of government.
To the CJ.
To the CJ. The CJ she's the head of the judiciary.
Oh, I mean one of the three arms of government.
Three arms of government.
She was not the head of an arm of government.
She wasn't.
She was part of the executive.
The EC is part of the executive.
Yeah.
So there are two different things. Quantitatively, yes, there are two people. But qualitatively, you make the argument that one is an equal arm of government. So if you actually look at three arms of government, there was once a debate in Parliament, and the Honourable Speaker of Parliament says, I am number 3. What is your number? He was making a very, very important case because your number determines your power. The President is number 1, the Vice President is number 2, the Speaker of Parliament is number 3, the Chief Justice is number 4. And that is it. Nobody else has any number. So qualitatively, if you are removing an equal arm of a government, that has serious ramifications. That's different.
Sorry to take you back. It's just bringing something to my mind. I hope I'm not being boring with these viewers. If that is so, in the context of political science, removal of the speaker is left to Parliament.
Yes.
Why is removal of the Chief Justice? Why does the executive have a role to play in the removal of the Chief Justice when the executive has no role to play in the removal of the speaker?
Intentionally so. Thank you. The Parliament is a political house. It's a house of politics. It is dominated by politicians. And so the speaker is a creature of what? The same politics that is there. And every politician, everybody there has a political party to support you. You have your own people to support you. So you have your own defense right there with you. The executive have their own defense there. You don't just get up and walk.
But the impeachment of the president, Parliament is involved.
Exactly.
Okay.
But it's only, in fact, if you also didn't look at the numbers, number 1 and number 2 have huge political parties to defend them when there's a need. Parliament is legislature have huge constituents to defend them. It is only number 4 that does not have any constituency to defend them. In fact, they don't have any defense whatsoever. The only thing that
they cannot defend themselves.
They cannot defend themselves. They have not. The only thing
Justice Kulendi made that point once upon a time.
The only thing that comes anything closer to defending them is their union. Is the union of magistrates
the judges and the magistrates.
They will come there. So that's the first. So quantitatively yes, qualitatively no. There's a difference, and that difference must be made because if you don't make that difference, then you are not expanding any knowledge. Then you are not trying to explain anything better. Your argument becomes lazy. Secondly, he made a point. There are legal issues, but there are also political issues. Politics law says you receive a petition, and then law says you cannot keep the petition. You must send the petition to Council of State. But the law doesn't tell you how early it should be sent or how late it should send. How long can you keep it? How long can you not keep it? I don't know whether it says that.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't.
So I can receive a petition in the morning and send in the morning. I can receive the same petition in the morning and send in the afternoon.
2 years later.
I can send it 2 years later. So the speed and the alacrity with which it is sent is political. It's not.
That's interesting. It's at the discretion of the president. So you're making it to a political discretion.
It's a political process. So that
you don't say that within 2 weeks of receiving which the Constitution says in other parts, within a few days of doing this must happen.
Yeah, this one I don't. So if it doesn't, then that means that
that's interesting.
When you send it there, becomes a political issue. Number 3, you made a point, and I don't get it. If the Council of State made a decision then, and the decision of the Council of State, so far nobody has seen it. In the last case between when it was made between Akufo-Addo and the Council of State, we actually saw it. So again, the decision as to whether you should make the decision,
the prima facie available,
it's also political. It's not legal.
You can decide not to make it available.
But that's what the chief is saying now.
But that's what the lawyers are complaining that's totally wrong.
Again, I'm saying if the law doesn't say make it available.
I get your point. The law does not compel them to make it available.
Public, yes.
That's why Mahamayari guys moving the CI in Parliament.
So in the case of Akufo-Addo, even though the law doesn't say make available the Council of State,
he chose to do it.
He chose to do it.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to promote transparency, accountability, fairness, justice. He wanted everybody to see that these are the legal decisions. He didn't want you to agree with his decision. It's a legal decision. You can disagree with it. But even if you are disagreeing with it, you know why. You know how he got to know. In this particular case, we don't know how the Council of State got to yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, we don't see the legal decisions espouse anything. We don't see that thing is a closed box, and that is the problem. What is in there?
This is a very interesting idea.
Yes, so we don't also see what is inside there, and because you don't see what is inside there, it's raising these issues. And you see, this I have said something that I don't know what I should say it again. That I believe the Chief Justice is gone. I believe that she will go. That nothing will save her. But at least she will go, and now we don't know. What if in future? What if this is leaked? What if she's removed? And then later something happens and this decision of the Council of State leaks. And now we're talking like, really? You remove Chief Justice because of these decisions? That'll be too late. But what if we see it today?
Who are you blaming for this process? Constitution?
Well,
the provisions of the Constitution?
Discretion. And because it creates discretion, remember, in politics and especially in public administration, a lot of discretion is given to policy makers. Somebody is making these policies, and that person decides not to release these things. That's the point I'm making. Who has the power to release the decision of the Council of State? It's the president. It has not happened. Question is why? Why hasn't it happened? You need it to happen so that we can add it to what we know.
Do you attribute bad faith to it?
I don't want to attribute bad faith because I don't know who is deciding, who is making this decision.
Do you think it's a dereliction of duty? It's a deliberate political decision? It is intended to obscure the matters from her and make her prosecution easier, or is just oversight?
All of the above.
All of it together.
All of the above. Mm-hmm. All of the above.
That's interesting.
All of the above. Mm-hmm. Because I believe strongly that inside the making of these decisions, I don't think personally the president wants to remove this woman. I don't think so. Because you see, it's going to be a very big-ish thing on his legacy. This is a legacy-defining president. This is last time. He wants to leave a very good legacy. He wants posterity to remember him as the president who came and did amazing and wonderful things for this country. He wants history to be very nice to him. This thing will be part of that history, and I don't think he wants it.
So how is he proceeding?
I don't know. I'm being just. I don't think.
That's interesting.
I honestly feel that he's a very nice person. He's a nice man. He doesn't want this on
his table,
on his record. But it's going to be there.
But who is pushing it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Let me ask you, I'll come to accountable for the legal. If this process has not ended by August, do you think that is beginning to soil the hands of government? Because I understand that the Chief Justice has a lot of witnesses to call, and they are very important people. I don't know who they are yet, but apparently they are very important people she's going to call into the committee. If this process doesn't end by, say, August, is it beginning to build the case you are making?
Look, I don't think this was how
they planned it.
It was envisaged. It should have been a surgical process. Surgical.
Quickly done. Finished.
And then we can move ahead to other things. Because look.
But now it's becoming.
It's almost being dragged out. It's an albatross. And every day, whether you like it or not, people are beginning to understand what at all. So the question is, what at all is inside this decision that is not being made public? Because, and there's something to be made. It's on record that the members, senior members of government have come out to even announce to us how the Council of State voted.
Oh, really? Oh, we know that.
Yeah, no, they actually announced.
Majority vote, a high majority.
There's a news report directly quoting the communications director of the NDC as having said that they all voted to convict except the former Chief Justice who abstained.
Oh, I see. Yes, I heard that.
Good.
Yeah.
So now, there's a question. Remember, I'm a Catholic. Mm-hmm. We just finished, we went to a conclave and we came out. Imagine you come out of a conclave. We are not supposed to know how, all we know is that Habamus Papam, we have a pope.
Yeah.
Now you are coming out to tell us that not only is there a Habamus Papam, but out of the 133 cardinals, 132 voted for Pope Leo. How did you get that information? So we know that information, but we don't know why
it went into the decision.
So far, that the media has reported it. The Council of State has not issued a disclaimer or a statement saying that no, it is wrong, we didn't vote like that. So the only thing on record now is that this was what happened there. Who gave them that information? How did they know?
The Council of State must have given it.
I'm not saying that.
Must have, because it's coming from them.
So somebody in there or somehow the information leaked. And that is where you can then begin to see what I'm saying, the process politicized. That if you choose selectively to make some information available, information that you know is a nuance to the whole process, why are you doing that? There has to be a reason. I don't know, but there has to be a reason.
Politically, do you think they are doing that because the cases are not that strong?
I'll let the lawyer...
Let me ask you the same question. If and I'll switch to Doc for politics very soon on the MPP and the Kufuor situation. You are also a member of the MPP. You can talk about that, but you have to be wrapping up on that one, please. If the process drags to August, from your legal spectacles, and looking at the vacation is when? End of July.
End of July.
So if by legal vacation, end of July, the process of the removal of Justice Torkorno is still ongoing, and it doesn't look like it's finishing. What will be the sentiments from the General Legal Council, the Ghana Bar Association?
I expect the Attorney General to comment on it at the Bar Association.
At the bar conference.
At the bar
But by then, hopefully it will be over. Maybe,
well,
I don't know.
Whether or not it is over, I expect him to update us.
Do you think that, against what Dr. Zato is saying, that there's still an opportunity for Justice Torkorno to return as Chief Justice?
I think it's premeditated.
What is premeditated?
Her removal is premeditated.
Some people think so, yeah.
No, it's completely premeditated. But today, Mr. Johnson Ketia has stated that the 3 heads of the Electoral Commission should be removed. Prior to the Chief Justice suspension, there was a media talk by Mr. Johnson Ketia, right, saying that the Chief Justice will go. And in fact, it's happened. The process has commenced. You see, you cannot underestimate the importance of Mr. Johnson Ketia. He sits in cabinet.
He does, yes.
He sits in cabinet.
He chairs the ruling party.
Exactly. And so he knows everything that has been planned. And so if he comes from under the sea to tell you that the crocodile is dead, then in fact the crocodile is dead. And that is what is happening. It's a whole plan. Remove the Chief Justice and then remove the EC bosses. Papa, it saddens my heart. Let me tell you why it saddens my heart. Mr. Siedun Ketia, very respectfully, is an octogenarian in terms of Ghanaian politics.
Okay.
He's very experienced.
He's not quite 70 yet, though.
No, but
Real age.
he's so it's not about age. In terms of his experience, quote and unquote. You saw how President Kufuor spoke to the MPP yesterday.
Yes.
I expect Mr. Johnson Siedun Ketia to handle things in Ghana like that. A real father, a real statesman figure. He is the longest serving party executive in the history of this country. Since the year 2000, he has been an executive of the NDC. He has witnessed the military rule. He has witnessed...
He was a member of the Consultative Assembly.
He was a member of the Consultative...
That rose in the Constitution.
Exactly. We need such figures to help us develop our democracy and not destroy the gains we have made. There's something which is emerging in Ghana now. Now, when presidents or governments take over, even state-owned enterprises, the executive directors, they clear all of them, right? And bring their own people. In some instances, let me qualify it. If this culture continues, very soon, governments will come in not only with their parliamentarians, they will come in with their judges, they will come in
with their chief directors.
With their chief directors.
The executive secretary, drivers.
Exactly.
Post office master.
Exactly.
Bank of Ghana government.
And do you know who is going to suffer? Their ordinary supporters. What it means is that for 4 years, when the new government comes, everybody is going to be unemployed on their part. And then when a government changes, the old government too, everybody is going to be unemployed. Is that what we want this country to be like? Instead of politicians applying their minds to creatively develop employment for the people of this country, this is what we are doing.
State capture here, state capture there.
Are you getting me? And I expect Mr. Johnson Siedun Ketia, with his experience in politics, to become a father figure for our democracy. That is the role he's supposed to play in Ghana now.
Not to be calling for the removal of electoral commissions.
Not to be destroying the gains. Paul, when you are an elder in a society, you should be forgiven. You should not be bitter. You should be forgiven. You should not be bitter. You should not be interested in. You should not be vindictive. That is not what leadership. That is not what leadership is about. Leadership is about rallying everybody and ignoring sometimes some of the things you hear.
But if Siedun Ketia feels the electoral commission is not good, can't he share an opinion?
When he expressed, his concerns about what he deems his grievances about the EC, I laughed. Paul, in 2012, the most celebrated electoral commissioner in the history of this country, Dr. Afarijan, who had been around for more than a decade, Paul, he conducted elections, the general elections, over a period of 2 days, unprecedented in the history of this country. The first day, it was a Saturday, I remember. And then he did the second day, right?
2012.
2012. Well, will you say that is incompetence? That notwithstanding, Dr. Afrejan is celebrated in this country. 2 days. Instead of 7th December, the elections ended on the 8th of December. Prior to that, the district assembly elections, he ran it over a period of 2 days. The same year, the year before, he did it over a period of 2 days. Was that incompetence? The Electoral Commission took office less than 8 years ago, right? Conducts elections.
Of 2020.
2020 has a problem with one area. 275 constituencies has a problem with just one area. Oh, can that be incompetence?
Is that the point they are making? The
Yes,
South?
it's a South. But let me
But
ask
that
you.
one draws in different kinds of parliament is in there, the attorney general's office is in there, the CI that comes out is in there. It draws out a few people.
2, he also makes reference to Ablekuma North.
The undeclared seat.
The EC has constantly said that they are ready to declare Ablekuma North. Give us security protection. Are you going to say that because the police has failed to provide security protection to the EC to enable it do its work, are you going to say that the IGP is incompetent?
So I'm beginning to see like a quid pro quo over there. So then this is saying you didn't do SAL, so this one too you won't do it.
Are you getting me? Mr. Johnson Esiedun Ketia, very respectfully, I'm calling on him. I've said this on radio today. He should begin to act like a father figure in our politics. Well, that's where he belongs to. He's been around for so long, seen it all, served under different presidents, seen different leaders, served under different regimes, been part of the consultative assembly that wrote the constitution. Paul, I am saying that he is in a position to mediate even conflicts within our democratic space. And that is the role he has to play. All these things are going to set us back. We should have a big heart. At some point, let us say that enough is enough. The research should rather be making sure that things of the past don't happen again.
Let me get Doc in, but Doc, before you do that, let me just grab some text messages from my young people. Kobe, give us 2 text messages. Doc, you're going to speak about the MPP event, the one Kufo was, and the MPP date for Congress and all that.
All right. So I have a message from Washi. Paul, there was internal conflict with accusations upon them. They engineered their own removal. Don't forget, they testified against themselves during the investigation process. Same cannot be said of the judiciary led by Torkorno. It is therefore needless to compare. Now, Iredu Boansi says, the NDC had agenda before assuming office. Listening to their chairman, I'm convinced by the reason why they did not allow non-NDC member to be a part of the Council of State. The chairman is pushing for a new EC to help him get the baton from President Mahama, thereby removing the CJ to make the process easy. What do you have for us, Anthony?
Right. I think someone is making a correction to an assertion that was made, a reference that was made. Abraham Copper says, respectfully, the Leonard Senior aired in his reference to the case which he attributed to Martin Pewu. He says that, in fact, it is the Republic versus Eugene Balfour Boni, which is anchored in Article 19 of the Constitution, but it's about disclosures. I think this is like a quick correction. Samuel Ofosuba says, that is my favorite. I always listen to Otasasi Radio every Saturday morning. He is accurately right in his political contributions and opinions. Dr. Zato is an ardent supporter and follower of His Excellency. Let's hear more of him, Paul. And Chika Derrick goes on to say that the doctor is really making a good point and we must learn a lot from him. Now, Rabiu lecturer on the comparison between Madam Charlotte's case and the CJ says, comparing Madam Charlotte's case to that of the CJ is like comparing oranges and apples. The CJ is the head of the judiciary, an arm of government, while the EC chair was head of a commission. So these two cannot be compared at all. Now back to you, Paul.
Let's come to you, Doc. President Kufuor was at the MPP event yesterday to try and put things together. I think it's good for the MPP that seeing Kwame Pianim come to make an effort. President Kufuor said he wasn't built to speak, but he spoke out of his heart in guiding the processes. This January Congress of the party, is it, first of all, is it fait accompli? No, before you can go. Is it fait accompli, or could it change?
Thank you very much. Before that, I just wanted to know something that you said about the General Secretary of the
NDC. Yeah, of course.
That is his opening statement in declaring his stand to succeed President John Dramani Mahama. That statement he wasn't making it to you and I. He was speaking directly to the grassroots of the NDC. He was looking them in the eyeball and said, look, I'm going to get the EC people out. I'm going to get the...
Why is NDC grassroots
because
interested
remember,
in that?
if you look, they hated... the NDC was able to successfully weaponize hatred towards EC. And it was one of the things that they used. Remember all the marches, everything they did. Talk to any NDC member, especially their grassroots, and they hate this EC with a passion. They hate the woman, they hate...
Convinced that she's against them.
They're convinced against them. So if you tell them that I'll get them out, it's like you're throwing red meat at them. And that is what the party chairman is trying to do. He's still reminding the NDC full soldier that I'm still your chairman, I'm still your leader, I am with you. Power has not made me to forget about you. And I'm still committed to throw red meat at you. So he's making a passionate appeal to the party soldier. He's thrown the first shots. So those comments were not made in jest. No, they were strategic, they were calculated, and they were aimed at achieving a political objective. He was speaking to a constituency. That constituency, the voters of the NDC and the grassroots. He was speaking to them, and they've heard him loud and clear. This guy will fight for us. That's what he wanted to make.
Wow, that's interesting.
If you come to the NDC, the MPP's January
Congress, yeah.
I think it will happen. And
January 31.
Yes, I think it will happen. And the reason is that the MPP is trying to use that to address a problem. You know, sometimes we have solutions chasing for problems, we don't have problems chasing solutions. In this case, the MPP realized something very quickly. Political parties are very vulnerable when they're having their own internal elections. That is the most vulnerable they are. Mm-hmm. And so they understand that the longer distance drags on, the more vulnerable the party becomes. The MPP has come to the longer distance drags around, the more the MPP tears itself apart. And then if you are coming up against a very formidable opponent like a ruling government, you need not do that. Secondly, the MPP seems not to have a leader right now because even the national chairman is unwell.
Yeah.
It's not there. So there is a vacuum. Life and politics hates vacuums. So who speaks for the party? Mm-hmm. So what the party is trying to do is that get a candidate that everybody can rally around. Mm-hmm. Remember, if you look at His Excellency Dr. Baumia, he just had about one year to campaign the last time. Yeah. While His Excellency John Dramani was basically campaigning for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Mm-hmm. It mattered. We saw that in the final results. Yeah. So what the MPP is now trying to do is to undo that. Is to try to regain that.
Give an advantage over the NDC candidate. So you've been campaigning longer.
And remember, as I said, Johnson has seen that writing on the wall. That's why he has not started.
That's why he started.
You see, those two are correlated. I'm not saying there's
I get it. Because he's seen that by January and then MPP have their candidate.
We don't have a standard bearer. Somebody who
and he'll be on the ballot.
And he'll be on the ballot and they will rally around him. Once NDC cannot do that. Because
you have to wait.
You have to wait. If you elect a flag bearer in next year, you just make the president a lame duck. So you can't do it
December 27.
Exactly. So by that time, so Joseph said it's like a relay baton, and he's already seen that by the time that the baton will be given to him, if he wins, this is how much ground the people would have covered. So he has started that campaign. So if you look at the list list, that's what they are both posturing. So that's what the NPP wants to do. They want to say, look, it's going to be difficult, let's make it surgical. Let's give power back to the grassroots of the NPP. The grassroots of the NPP are angry.
How are you giving power to the grassroots? You're asking them to elect.
They're going to decide, yes. You're simply giving power to them. The minutest unit of the NPP is the polling station executive. Mm-hmm. There's no more grassroots more than that. Mm-hmm. So to tell them that you have the power, elect your flag bearer, is just giving back to the grassroots. So when people say this is a top-down approach, I don't understand what they mean by top-down.
Top-down, they mean you didn't elect police station executives first.
The police station executives are already elected. They are already police station executives.
And they are within tenure.
Yes, but I don't think their tenure is over.
No, they are within tenure.
Yes, they are within tenure.
January 31st will be within tenure.
Exactly.
All of them will be within tenure.
Yes.
Constituency executive
So
will be
you are telling them to do the job that they were elected to do in the first place. So it's not outside.
It will mean then that in one tenure they may have elected 2 presidential candidates. Yeah.
But again,
when one tenure elects 1 presidential candidate,
that is
because it's 4 years, 4 years.
That's what has been happening. It doesn't mean that. So first of all, you are not breaking any law. 2, you are not taking any power away from them. You are not. You are not saying that polling station executive used to what elect the flag.
Some people feel that the polling station executive today, the electoral college today, belongs to a particular candidate. I don't know how a party's electoral college can belong to one person.
Well,
but some people think it belongs to a particular candidate. So let us change the electoral college before we get to the...
And then give it to another candidate, right?
Well, let us change it so it doesn't go to anywhere.
See, the leading contenders...
Bafo doesn't want to speak, I understand that, because it's very controversial.
He's
a voter, he'll be voting in these processes.
The leading contenders in the primary, they've already faced this electorate before.
Yeah, they have.
You face them. Yeah. And you've been campaigning or you've been in touch with them for the past 3-4 years. So they shouldn't be anybody's candidates right now. If you went and you faced them the last time and you are facing them again, so it means that even if you lost, you've had about 2 years now to make up. If you won, you have 2 years
and
now.
You may have an advantage because you can tell them that, you see, you voted for my friend and he didn't win.
Yes.
So come to me.
So this is an advantage, but the point I'm making is that if you want to lead the NPP now, and this the grassroots, they know you, and these policies they don't know you, they have no business to lead the party, because that is the nucleus of your party. The people are the...
I get the point. That you don't need an election before the police stations know you.
Because see, if you think somebody already has an advantage, and if you go through history, the attrition rate among these police executives is very low.
So they've been there for long.
They've been there for long.
But that's true. They don't change much.
The attrition rate
police station executives don't change much.
That if you check, actually sit down and you do a math, you realize that the attrition is about 20%, 10%. Almost every community you go, some of them are grandfathered. Some of them, they just give the slot to this house and this house decide. And there are people who have been chairman for like forever. So the attrition is, so if you were waiting that there will be new change, no. It won't change that much. If you compare register upon register, you may only see about less than 20% change, and that's not so.
Very interesting points you're making.
So if you do that, it's not even going to help you. What will make it worse is the amount of money spent. It's a lot of money.
By the party or by the candidates?
Both. The party will spend a lot of money doing all this and put it together. That's coming from the party. The candidates will do a lot of money trying to organize us. And so it is also a money-saving mechanism to make sure that you are not wasting that amount of money, especially now that you are in the
let's get the leaders first.
Let's get leaders first. So my point is that And also, there's one thing I know about Paul Citizen. If you are complaining, you are losing. If you are winning, you are not complaining.
No, that may not be true for election 2024.
No, right now.
The NDC complained more about the Electoral Commission, but they won.
It wasn't a complaint, it was a strategic campaign. They were not complaining, it was strategic campaign.
Okay.
It was strategic communication. They were strategically communicating.
Okay.
You understand? It was neck pressing, as somebody put it. It wasn't complaining. Right now in this program, if you are complaining, you are losing. Because again, the register has been there for years. You didn't just get up today and decide to run. You knew there was a register. You knew you were going to campaign. What I'm saying, the thing is that I'm happy with what President Kufuor told them. And if you are a politician trying to run, one of the things you realize is that if you divide your own party so much so that you come to win, is the proverb story. If you betray your brother, nobody may buy, or if they buy, they will never trust you again. You can burn the grass and win the election, or to win the elections. You can burn the house down using tribalism, using religion, using geography, using whatever you can. You can do that, but nobody will trust you after you've won that. And that is what you've seen in the Africa Policy Lens survey again upon again. Voters, especially MPP voters, abhor those things. They hate it. Voters, especially MPP voters, are saying that we want candidates who are unifying, candidates who are caring, candidates who are loving. We want candidates who feel like us. We want candidates who respect everybody. And so if you are seen to be espousing certain things, where you are trying to turn one person against the other, you are trying to turn one religion against the other, you are trying to turn one's region against the other, you are trying to use one's financial abilities or inabilities against each other. MPP delegates have told pollsters, and not only the Africa Policy Lens, almost every poll, that they abhor those and they don't like those things. And they will punish any candidate who is seen to be furthering those kind of things.
That's interesting. We have to continue this conversation. But for you, have a final word. I'm going over to the text and wrap it up. It's 11:30 actually.
For me, I think that the early Congress is important to resolve the power vacuum. What I am begging of all MPP supporters is to remain calm and let's unite. It's important that we bear in mind that come what may, December 2028, MPP will be contesting in the elections. For those of us, or some people who think that it's too early for us to elect our flag bearer, they need to bear that in mind. And they need to appreciate that for our own internal peace of mind, this process is necessary so that we can come together, put together solid ideas, right, which will be alternative to what the NDC is currently providing. And at the end of the day, we'll come and sell it to them. If they find it, purchasable, they will buy it over that of the NDC. And so all of us should keep calm. Let's unite and stay focused solidly behind the new patriotic party and not individuals. The MPP is the most important political brand in the history of this country. It's the greatest political brand in the history of this country. It has survived all transitions. And so let's stay calm, unite behind it.
That's true. The MPP is older than the NDC.